3 cheeses you must eat, and 3 you should never touch if you're over 60. Did you know that over 80% of adults past 60 still include cheese in their meals at least twice a week? Yet almost every senior is making one simple mistake in the cheese aisle, a mistake that could quietly steal years from their life. And the fix is surprisingly simple. More than 90% of seniors have no idea that the cheeses they're choosing could silently double their heart attack risk and cut their chances of reaching age 80 by nearly 40%. Hard to believe, right? The cheese section may look harmless, but behind those bright labels hide secrets most people never hear about. In this video, we'll uncover 3 cheeses you should absolutely add to your plate, and 3 you need to remove immediately if you're over 60. And here's the frightening truth. The number 1 worst cheese on this list can raise your stroke risk by up to 80%. And chances are you've eaten it recently without thinking twice. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments where you're watching from, your age, and which cheese you ate most recently. We read and reply to every single comment. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content like this. And here's an important promise before we begin. Every piece of information in this video has been thoroughly researched, carefully verified, and is fully backed by solid science, so you can feel completely confident in what you're about to learn. Now, without any delay, let's jump straight into the countdown, starting with the cheeses that do your body the most good. Let's begin with the very first cheese that every senior should seriously consider adding to their daily routine, cottage cheese. At first glance, it may look simple, soft white curds resting in a mild, creamy base. But don't let its humble appearance fool you. Cottage cheese is one of those rare foods that behaves like a super nutrient machine, disguised as a light, easy-to-eat dairy product. And for older adults, it offers benefits that go far beyond basic nutrition. What makes cottage cheese so powerful starts with its composition. It's a fresh cheese made from skim milk, which gives it an impressive profile, high protein, extremely low fat, and naturally gentle on digestion. Just half a cup, about 113 grams, of 2% cottage cheese delivers roughly 14 grams of high-quality protein, the same amount you'd get from eating 2 large eggs, but with far less fat. For seniors who often struggle to meet daily protein needs, especially when appetite decreases, cottage cheese becomes a simple yet effective solution. But here's where cottage cheese becomes truly remarkable. The majority of its protein comes from casein, a slow-digesting form of protein that releases amino acids steadily for several hours. This slow release is crucial for older adults because it helps protect muscle mass overnight, minimizing the age-related muscle breakdown that leads to weakness, frailty, and mobility loss. In fact, a study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that consuming around 30 grams of cottage cheese protein before bed significantly boosted metabolic rate and improved muscle quality. Cottage cheese doesn't stop at muscles. It also strengthens bones. It's naturally rich in calcium and phosphorus, 2 minerals that work together to maintain bone density and reduce osteoporosis risk. For seniors, this combination is like nutritional armor. To show you how powerful cottage cheese can be, let me share a real story. Thomas Miller, a 73-year-old from Ohio, lost a noticeable amount of weight and muscle after a long hospital stay. His physical therapist suggested adding cottage cheese to his evening meals. So his daughter blended a banana smoothie with a generous scoop of cottage cheese every night. In just 8 weeks, Thomas gained nearly 2 kilograms of lean mass, felt stronger on his feet, and even slept better. Improvements likely supported by the casein and natural tryptophan in the cheese. His experience perfectly illustrates how this gentle, easy-to-digest food can transform strength and recovery in older adults. When choosing cottage cheese for seniors, opt for low-fat, 1 to 2%, or fat-free options to reduce saturated fat. Because it's a fresh cheese, it contains more lactose, so adults with intolerance should look for lactose-free varieties or start with small portions. And here's the best part. Cottage cheese is incredibly versatile. Eat it plain, mix it with yogurt, pair it with fruit, stir it into soups or salads, or spread it on whole grain bread instead of cream cheese. No matter how you enjoy it, this nutrient-dense cheese offers powerful, senior-friendly benefits in every spoonful. Now let's move to the second cheese on our list, and this one is incredibly beneficial for older adults. We're talking about Swiss cheese, especially classics like Emmental, Jarlsberg, and Gruyere. You may recognize them by their iconic round holes and slightly sweet, nutty aroma, but behind that familiar look is a unique nutritional profile that makes Swiss cheese almost tailor-made for seniors. What sets Swiss cheeses apart begins with two major advantages: naturally low sodium and rich micronutrient content. While many cheeses are notoriously salty, Swiss varieties are surprisingly gentle. Hard Swiss cheeses like Emmental contain only about 0.5 grams of salt per 100 grams, which is dramatically lower than most common cheeses. That means a single 30-gram slice adds only around 150 milligrams of sodium. A huge win for seniors managing blood pressure, heart disease, or kidney issues. To put that into perspective, nutritional comparisons show that a 28-gram serving of Swiss cheese provides roughly 2% of the daily salt limit, while the same amount of American cheese delivers a staggering 21%. That's a tenfold difference, and for anyone over 60, it matters. But the true magic of Swiss cheese lies in its vitamin B12 content. Seniors often struggle with B12 absorption, leading to fatigue, nerve issues, and even cognitive decline. Swiss cheese delivers this vitamin in abundance, helping support red blood cell formation and neurological function. Then comes another superstar nutrient, vitamin K2. Because Swiss cheeses are fermented with propionibacteria, they naturally produce K2, the same nutrient that guides calcium into bones and away from arteries, reducing the risk of arterial calcification. It's a rare and powerful benefit. Swiss cheese also offers high-quality protein and calcium, similar to other hard cheeses but with a much milder flavor, making it easier for seniors to enjoy consistently without over-consuming. The evidence keeps getting stronger. A study published in BMJ Nutrition, Prevention and Health, 2022, examined adults who ate 57 grams of Jarlsberg cheese daily for 6 weeks. They showed a significant increase in osteocalcin, a key protein involved in bone formation. Even more surprising, the Jarlsberg group also experienced a reduction in LDL cholesterol compared to people eating other cheeses. When serving Swiss cheese, large blocks are common, so slicing them thin, about 20 grams per slice, is ideal. Because Swiss cheeses are low in salt, they're more prone to mold than saltier varieties like cheddar. Always wrap tightly, refrigerate, and cut away mold generously. If mold has spread widely, discard the entire piece. A practical intake for seniors is 1 to 2 slices, 20 to 40 grams, per day, which provides excellent amounts of B12, calcium, and K2 without excess calories or sodium. However, anyone taking warfarin should avoid sudden increases in vitamin K intake, so check with a doctor before making Swiss cheese a daily habit. Swiss cheese works beautifully in cold dishes, sandwiches, wraps, or simple fruit and nut plates. And because it already has a naturally rich, milky flavor, you don't need to add extra salt, making it perfect for seniors who must keep sodium low. Now we arrive at the third and final cheese on our list, and trust me, its benefits are every bit as impressive as the first two. We're talking about goat cheese, a whole family of cheeses ranging from soft, creamy chèvre to firmer, aged varieties. No matter the style, goat cheese carries a unique nutritional signature that makes it exceptionally well-suited for older adults. What makes goat cheese stand out begins with its easy digestibility. Goat milk has a completely different fat and protein structure compared to cow's milk. Its fat globules are naturally smaller, and a larger proportion of its fats come in the form of medium-chain fatty acids, which the body absorbs faster and burns more efficiently, meaning less fat storage and gentler digestion for seniors. Protein digestion is also easier. Goat milk contains far less alpha-casein, the protein often linked to dairy intolerance, and is naturally rich in beta-casein A2, which is significantly easier on the gut than the A1 form found in most cow's milk. This is why many older adults who can't tolerate cow's milk can comfortably enjoy goat cheese without bloating, gas, or discomfort. Another major advantage, goat milk naturally contains about 1% less lactose than cow's milk. And because lactose drops even further during cheese aging, many aged goat cheeses are practically lactose-free. A report from the Indian Institute of Nutrition found that roughly 40% of people with mild lactose intolerance could digest moderate amounts of goat milk with no symptoms, while the same amount of cow's milk caused discomfort. Nutritionally, goat cheese matches cow cheese in protein and calcium, but often delivers additional micronutrients such as vitamin A, vitamin B2, vitamin B3, copper, and selenium. Nutrients older adults frequently lack. And because goat cheese has a stronger, tangier flavor, seniors naturally eat smaller portions, helping prevent accidental overeating or excess fat intake. There's more. Soft goat cheese varieties like chèvre may contain live beneficial cultures from lactic fermentation. These probiotics can help support a healthier gut microbiome, something that becomes increasingly important with age. One European study even found that switching from cow-based butter to goat-based dairy led to modest reductions in total cholesterol and triglycerides, likely due to the metabolism-boosting effects of medium-chain fatty acids. Goat cheese comes in several forms. Soft fresh cheese is white, creamy, and lightly tangy, perfect for spreading on whole grain. Crackers or mixing with herbs and a touch of honey. Semi-hard varieties like Tome de Chèvre have a deeper flavor and slightly higher salt content, so it's important to check labels and choose options with less than 1.5 grams of salt per 100 grams, ideal for seniors limiting sodium. Because the flavor is bold, a modest serving of 20 to 30 grams is usually enough to enhance a meal. This natural moderation helps reduce total fat intake without feeling restricted. For anyone concerned about fat content, many stores offer low-fat goat cheese made from skimmed goat's milk. Proper storage matters too. Goat cheese often has a distinct aroma, so keep it sealed tightly to prevent the scent from transferring to other foods. And as always, seniors should choose pasteurized goat cheese unless purchasing from a trusted artisanal source to avoid bacterial risks. In short, goat cheese brings together better digestion, lower lactose, rich micronutrients, and gut-friendly probiotics, all in small, flavorful portions that fit perfectly into a senior's diet. Before we move into the cheeses seniors should avoid, it's important to pause for a moment. The first three cheeses we discussed can truly support healthy aging, but the story changes completely when we turn to the other side of the aisle. Some cheeses can quietly undo the progress you're trying to make, pushing your blood pressure higher, straining your heart, and interfering with medications without you even realizing it. And with that understanding, it's time to shift gears and reveal the first cheese older adults should approach with real caution. Let's talk about blue cheese. Blue cheese may look elegant with its marbled blue-green veins, and varieties like Roquefort from France, Gorgonzola from Italy, and Stilton from England have long been celebrated for their bold, complex flavor. But for seniors, that flavor often comes with a hidden and dangerous price. These cheeses are naturally very salty and very rich in saturated fat. A typical serving can deliver 600 to 700 milligrams of sodium, which means just a small portion can take up 30 to 50% of the daily sodium allowance for someone managing high blood pressure, usually around 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams per day. Consuming that much salt in only a few bites can drive blood pressure upward, force the heart to work harder, and add unnecessary strain to aging kidneys. Combined with the heavy saturated fat content, the risk of rising LDL cholesterol and accelerated plaque buildup in the arteries becomes even more concerning for people over 60. What often gets overlooked is that many traditional blue cheeses are made from unpasteurized milk. That dramatically increases the risk of listeria exposure, a bacterium that may be mild for younger people but can cause severe infection in seniors or anyone with reduced immunity. And then there's tyramine, a compound produced during the fermentation process. Tyramine might seem harmless, but for older adults, taking certain antidepressants, especially MAO inhibitors, it can trigger sudden spikes in blood pressure or intense headaches. A real-world example shows how easily this can happen. David Chen, a 70-year-old living in California, loved adding blue cheese dressing to his salads every afternoon. He enjoyed the creamy tang and never thought twice about it, until his blood pressure suddenly shot up over a period of months. At his medical checkup, doctors traced the problem back to one surprising culprit: the massive sodium load hidden in his daily blue cheese dressing. He wasn't sprinkling a small amount on top, he was consuming tablespoons of it, and each serving delivered far more salt than he ever imagined. Once he stopped the dressing and switched to a mild vinaigrette, his blood pressure began to stabilize. His experience is a powerful reminder that blue cheese doesn't just sit on a cheese board, it hides in dips, spreads, and dressings where sodium levels can skyrocket without you noticing. For seniors, the safest approach is simple. Limit blue cheese to very small amounts, choose pasteurized versions whenever possible, and use it in cooked dishes rather than raw if your immune system is weakened. Even then, moderation is key, and if you already struggle with high blood pressure or take antidepressant medication, avoiding blue cheese entirely is the wiser and safer choice. After understanding why blue cheese can be risky for seniors, it's time to turn to another category that looks harmless on the surface, but carries far more hidden dangers than most people realize. The next cheese older adults should limit as much as possible is processed cheese. The bright orange slices you see in burgers, the industrial cream cheeses, the cheese sticks, the melt-on-anything squares that have become a staple in fast food. And despite the name, these products are often closer to ultra-processed snacks than real cheese. Processed cheese starts with a base of cheese, but manufacturers then blend it with salt, preservatives, emulsifiers, coloring agents, stabilizers, and vegetable oils to create a product that melts perfectly but often undermines your health. A single slice of American cheese contains more than 400 milligrams of sodium, which is roughly 4 times the salt content of natural cheddar of the same weight. And the fat profile is equally alarming. Each slice delivers around 9 grams of total fat, including 5 grams of saturated fat, which already accounts for 25% of the recommended daily limit. Compared gram for gram, Healthline's comparative data shows that American cheese contains 10 times more sodium than Swiss cheese and 4 times more than cheddar. For seniors already monitoring blood pressure, heart health, or kidney function, that difference is enormous. The nutritional downsides don't end there. Because processed cheese often includes fillers like starch and vegetable oil, it provides less protein and calcium than natural cheese, yet packs more calories, meaning seniors may end up consuming empty calories without gaining the nutrients they actually need. Additives like phosphates can also interfere with mineral balance, and when consumed frequently, may disrupt calcium metabolism in older adults, further stressing bones and kidneys. Emulsifiers, synthetic colors, and preservatives won't cause immediate illness, but over time, they degrade nutritional value and contribute to inflammation and metabolic imbalance. Long-term evidence is even more worrying. A European study involving nearly 5,000 older adults found that those who consume the highest levels of ultra-processed foods, including processed cheese, had significantly higher rates of metabolic syndrome compared to those eating more natural, whole foods. Increased blood pressure, elevated LDL cholesterol, greater abdominal fat, and impaired glucose control were all more common in the processed food group. For all these reasons, processed cheese should never be a daily habit for seniors. Think of cheese slices, cheese spreads, and cheese sticks as occasional treats, not reliable nutrition. If you choose to use them, opt for lower sodium, reduced fat versions. Some brands offer slices with 50% less fat and keep portions small, ideally 1 to 2 slices per serving. Better yet, replace them with natural cheeses whenever possible, and stay mindful of calories, since processed cheese is soft, tasty, and extremely easy to overeat without noticing. Now we've arrived at the final cheese on our list, and although it may look innocent, it carries risks that most older adults never think about. We're talking about cream cheese. That smooth, spreadable favorite you often see in bagels, pastries, and the familiar Philadelphia-style tubs. Cream cheese is made primarily from milk cream, which gives it its soft texture, but also an extremely high fat content with very little nutritional value to balance it out. Unlike hard cheeses that provide meaningful protein and calcium, cream cheese offers very little of either. That means seniors end up consuming large amounts of empty calories from fat without getting the protein needed to maintain muscle or the minerals required to support bone strength. The British Heart Foundation categorizes mascarpone and cream cheese among the highest fat cheeses, reaching up to 44% total fat, and strongly advises limiting them, especially for older adults at risk of heart disease. The problem becomes even bigger when you consider how cream cheese is usually eaten. A thick layer spread on white bread, toast, or pastries easily turns a simple breakfast into a dense pile of refined starches plus saturated fat with almost no fiber, vitamins, or minerals for balance. Just one heavy smear at breakfast can deliver 15 to 20 grams of saturated fat, which already meets or exceeds the recommended daily limit for many seniors. Industrial cream cheese adds another concern. Many brands mix in stabilizers like carrageenan or gums, and although the sodium content isn't extremely high, roughly 0.65 grams of salt per 100 grams, it becomes problematic when cream cheese is eaten generously or combined with other salty foods. High moisture also makes it more perishable than firm cheeses, so mishandling can quickly lead to spoilage. The long-term impact is even more troubling. In one study, following adults over 65, researchers found that those who consumed higher amounts of full-fat dairy products, including butter, heavy cream, and cream cheese, had a greater likelihood of developing mild cognitive impairment, possibly linked to the way saturated fats affect blood vessels in the brain. For all these reasons, cream cheese should be used sparingly by seniors. If someone truly enjoys it, choosing a light version with about 30% less fat is far safer. Portion size matters as well. A thin layer, about 1 tablespoon, 15 grams, contains roughly 5 grams of fat and is more manageable. Mixing cream cheese with a spoonful of plain yogurt adds protein and reduces overall fat, while topping it with fresh fruit instead of applying it thickly can turn it into a more balanced snack. Those with high cholesterol or cardiovascular disease should avoid cream cheese as a regular food and reserve it for occasional enjoyment. And because this cheese spoils quickly, always check expiration dates and keep it refrigerated. Its high moisture content makes it unsafe to leave at room temperature for long.